Well, with the playing of that familiar theme song, it's time to go out to the other coast of the United States, the one we call left, and check with Michael Snyder in Hollywood and find out what's happening with the movies this week. Hello, Michael.
Well, howdy, Alex, and hello, listeners, everyone out there in internet land and wherever you're checking into GABNet. And we do have some movies to review, and it's still dribs and drabs right now. It's still the dead of winter. Things are going to heat up a bit, but for right now, let's get to at least one really interesting film and a couple others that I really enjoyed. Let's start with They Shall Not Grow Old. A few years ago, the British Imperial War Museum contacted director Peter Jackson about doing something with their trove of film footage from World War I to mark the centennial of what I guess the so-called Great War. They Shall Not Grow Old is Jackson's impressionistic documentary that resulted from that contact, and it's maybe the first of its kind. I thought it's the best thing he's done as a director since the Lord of the Rings movies. It's a phenomenal technical achievement in historical preservation, digital restoration, and so forth, with an artistic use of things that maybe we used to blanch about. Colorization, newly recorded sound. Some might question the veracity of this kind of project, but what it does is it truly brings 100-year-old silent, herky-jerky black and white film of England's mobilization for World War I and the harrowing life of the soldier in the filth and horror and death of trench warfare during the early 20th century. Everybody comes to life. We look at old footage from that era, and it looks just, we're removed from it. We feel, that we're looking at something ancient and decrepit. What this kind of digital restoration does is make it incredibly vivid, give it a real you are there quality. It's up close and personal, and damn, the japes about British teeth and dentistry, or the lack thereof, seem mild when you see a few of these brave soldiers in close-up from back in the day. I guess floss was decades away from being invented, let alone fluoride. I highly recommend They Shall Not Grow Old, especially to people who are sort of history buffs. And again, it's tough to watch. It's harrowing. You're right in the middle of the war zone like you've never been before.
I started watching this months ago, and I have not completed it, but I plan to. But what I saw was very, very good.
It's stunning, and he begins the film showing you the original sort of footage, and they slowly begin adding the restoration to it, and it becomes eye-opening, to say the least. Miss Bala stars Gina Rodriguez, TV's Jane the Virgin, as Gloria, a Mexican-American makeup artist who goes from Hollywood to Tijuana, and she's struggling in Hollywood, but she goes to Tijuana to help her friend kind of pretty up for the Miss Baja California beauty pageant, and then finds herself, ostensibly against her will, caught up with a drug cartel and their criminal activities. You know what? The original Mexican movie of the same name is much better. This is a remake. Motivations and relationships seem less gratuitous in the original film, and Rodriguez is not yet a great enough actress to pull off such a variety of emotional twists and turns. The script is an issue, not giving the main character any real depth. You don't have any backstory, really. She's a makeup artist and struggling. It's just not enough. And the movie isn't helped by the haphazard rhythm of the direction, which is by Catherine Hardwicke, probably best known for directing the first Twilight movie and a really cool skate punk flick called Lords of Dogtown. But the drug gang leader is played by Ismael Cruz Cordoba, and he is a magnetic young actor who has already laid down some good work as a boxer on Showtime's Ray Donovan. He seems poised to be a breakout star. That's the best I can say about it. So Miss Bala gets a shrug from me. A much better film in my book is Arctic, the great Danish actor Mads Mikkelsen. Great Dane Mads Mikkelsen. He stars in an English-language man versus nature drama as an airplane crash survivor who has to trek through miles and miles of dangerous terrain to survive. Arctic is exciting. It's well made. There's something about the one man against nature movie that really kind of draws me in. And he's further aided by the fact that the one man is Mikkelsen. I mean, he's compelling no matter what he does. By the way, the dialogue is minimal. And again, there's not a subtitle issue for those who find that problematic. It's all about the visual storytelling. And as wilderness survival movies go, this is a good one, written and directed by Joe Penna. Mads has done another film, apparently in a chilly terrain, called Polar, which I think is available on Netflix, but I have yet to see it. Maybe he was up there and thought, oh, I'll shoot 2 films for the price of one. Anyway, I did love or really appreciate Arctic. We'll wrap up with Piercing, in which a creepy businessman played by Christopher Abbott goes on a trip with the intent of doing something horrible to a prostitute that he hires. Already, things sound a little troubling. Only things go even crazier than you'd suspect when the hooker, played by Mia Wasikowska, shows up at his hotel room. This is a short, to-the-point movie, and yet highly stylized. Lots of hallucinogenic moments. It's made in 2017, and it's been sitting around, but Universal is releasing it. It was shot in New York by a native New Yorker who made quite a splash on the indie film scene with The Eyes of My Mother, Nicholas Pesh. And he's basically now doing the American reboot of the Japanese horror film Grudge. So he's on a roll. There's a 70s vibe here. And there's a very cool soundtrack with a couple oldies, one by Gene Pitney, and a lot of Italian pop instrumentals that serve as a really amazing counterpoint to the gore and horror that kind of flares up now and again. Piercing was right in my wheelhouse. What are you watching, buddy? Anything on TV or any film stuff?
Nothing at all. Nothing to contribute here this week. Okay. Anyway, tell them where they can find you.
On Twitter at Culture Blaster, on Facebook at Michael Snyder's Culture Blast page, and on GABNet and its many subsidiaries.
Okay, thank you very much, Michael, and we shall see you next week. If you're listening to us 24/7, well, just stay right where you are. There's more GABNet coming right up.